so I decided to let Reddit pick my next anime review again. A while back I came across this Reddit post. Wait, let me zoom in on it a bit. There, that's better. This well-designed post showcases what the Reddit anime community thinks are some of the most underrated anime, numbering 100 in total. What's nice about this is if you're in the mood to check out something that you've never heard of, there's tons of choices and several options for each genre, so anybody can view it and potentially find something good for a genre you like. I like searching for underrated anime, so this list definitely intrigued me, as I now plan to watch everything on it. Thus far I've watched 19 of the 100 anime Reddit claim to be underrated. In the first video of the series, I broke down all previously watched shows and stated whether I thought they were underrated or not. In order to be considered underrated, I set the bar for at least a 7.5 out of 10. With that being said, Reddit is doing pretty good thus far, with me agreeing that a little over half of the anime I've seen from the list are underrated gems, so a record of 10 and 9. To be fair, those numbers are a bit inflated since I don't think shows like 86 or Bungo Stray Dogs are underrated in the slightest. They are really good and already receiving tons of praise. Maybe they deserve to be talked about a bit more, but we move. The first randomly selected anime I decided to watch was Humanity Has Declined, which was wildly disappointing and further proves that Reddit is not funny, but I'm assuming most people already know that. So Reddit is 0 for 1 with new shows for this series. Will this next anime actually be underrated, or will Reddit continue to falter? Instead of picking something at random like last time, I picked one that intrigued me the most: Kyousougiga. Kyousougiga doesn't hold your hand spoon-feeding you the plot. At the same time, it isn't very difficult to follow, it just requires you to pay at least some attention to the details in order to fully appreciate the story. As things start to make more sense and the characters are more fleshed out, Kyousougiga becomes very enjoyable. It reminds me of FLCL or Fooly Cooly, possessing a similar chaotic nature, as well as randomness, weirdness, and general hijinks that are showcased throughout it. If you enjoyed Fooly Cooly for those reasons, I would think you'd enjoy Kyousougiga as well. As a quick side note, watch episode 0 after watching the entire series. Kyousougiga, in the simplest of terms, tells the story of a strange and unconventional family and the problems they face. Long ago, a god named Inari lived in solitary exile, having a very lonely existence. He didn't do so because he wanted to, but because of the threat he posed. He was able to bring anything he drew to life, creating problems and fear among the locals. Eventually, he draws a black rabbit who falls in love with him. That black rabbit, named Koto, cannot fulfill the love she has for him. That is until she is granted a human form, thanks to Buddha, so that she can be with him, with the stipulation that this contract will run out once the love is reciprocated. Thus starts the beginning of a family. If you thought the family couldn't get any weirder than a god and rabbit drawing being together, it does. Yakushimaru is the next addition to the family. He was a normal human boy found at another shrine, where his family was completely wiped out. Being saddened by their loss and now alone in the world, he decides to take his own life. Inari stumbled across a near-death Yakushimaru, brings him back home, adopting him and revives him with his magical fruit drawing, a pomegranate, which makes Yakushimaru now immortal. Ever since Yakushimaru has sought death, but never found it. Inari and Koto realize the trauma Yakushimaru has been through and the loneliness he experiences, so Inari decides to add 2 new siblings to their family to help out. They are Kurama, the eldest brother, and Yase, a demon girl. Both of them are also drawings come to life. A once empty and quiet temple is now filled with noise and a happy family. Saying this family is strange is an understatement, since they now consist of a god, a rabbit drawing turned human, an adopted immortal human, and 2 different drawings. The capital and shrine grow more concerned with the existence of this family, which pushes Inari to find a solution. Instead of giving up their peaceful and happy lives, he creates a new world. The Looking Glass City, their new home, made from his drawings. It is a perfect place where man and monster can live side by side. Absolutely nothing changes, death and destruction are reverted within this world, nobody new enters, and the city is ruled by Inari and Koto. A general feeling of ease and comfort is felt by the family. The children are spoiled since they are never challenged by any hardships and can always experience the love of their parents. Unfortunately, all good times must come to an end. One day, Koto and Inari are forced to leave this paradise and their 3 kids behind, handing off the responsibilities of ruling the Looking Glass City to them. Yakushimaru gets the worst of it, having to accept the title of Myoe, Inari's role, as well as his powers. Every passing day, Yakushimaru, Kurama, and Yase eagerly wait for their parents' return, with Inari promising to return with both the end and the beginning. Each of the 3 kids, despite living in a paradise, actually view it as being trapped in hell, as they struggle and suffer since the loss of their parents, no longer having their guidance and direction. A significant amount of time passes as the kids wait for their parents to return, and eventually somebody finally enters the Looking Glass City. To the dismay of the family, it is not their parents, it is an aggressive handful of a girl who is also named Koto, looking for a certain black rabbit. As is revealed later, she is yet another family member, the daughter of a god and a Buddha, Inari and Koto. Add yet another weird existence to this family. This young girl disrupts the status quo of their city, a world that never changes, and encourages her siblings to stop living in the past through her hard-headed nature. One of the many things that makes Kyousougiga great is the fact that each character gets to shine in the spotlight. Every character has their own arcs, episodes that focus on them individually, and the story does it extremely well. It's a big deal, especially since Kyousougiga is an extremely short anime about a family, coming in at only 10 episodes total. As the story progresses, the narrow single character focus becomes wider as the entire family re-enters the spotlight. Despite Kyousougiga's absurd and eccentric family dynamics, each one of them is very human-like, having the ability to be literally anybody in a family setting. Each sibling can represent various feelings within a family as they wish that life could revert to simpler times, when life was easier before time and various circumstances tore the family apart. I think everybody can share this sentiment, wanting life to return to its easiest time period within one's life. There's this feeling of nostalgia felt by all of the siblings. The children want things to change and return back to the way they were, being one big happy family, and that desire drives each character's actions. Kurama wants to escape from the Looking Glass City, viewing it more as a prison now, keeping him from his parents. He wants to see the outside world again. You can see just how serious he is in completing this mission with the existence of his science team and the underhanded tactics he used against child Koto. He feels guilty that his family is forced into this situation because of his existence, bringing fear into the townspeople and shrine, forcing his family to relocate. Kurama thinks it's his fault for the family breaking apart and wants to fix it by acting as a big brother, being the true ruler of the Looking Glass City. The best way to describe Yase is as a hoarder. She clings to material goods and the memories each one possesses, especially being fond of ones involving her mother. She never wants to lose any of these precious memories, so she keeps everything and despises the station opening, which is designed to get rid of unwanted stuff. Happy memories of the past, nostalgia drives her actions throughout the anime as she lives in the past instead of living in the present. Episode 4 focuses on her backstory and motivations and was the turning point of the anime for me. The point where I knew Kyousougiga was underrated because her story specifically was very enjoyable. Before that point there were moments that I enjoyed, but Yase's arc took it to that next level, as Kyousougiga went from decent to really good. Yakushimaru is the most interesting character within Kyousougiga and he's also my favorite. He has a strained relationship with his adoptive family, in part because they prevented his death by making him immortal, never allowing him to see his original family again in the afterlife. Life, this thing that is supposed to be cherished, protected, and enjoyed, is now a curse for him. It's part of the reason why he's always downtrodden as he seeks out death. At times Yakushimaru, or Myoe, doesn't really feel like he fits in with his new family, although he does love and appreciate them. He's given the keys to the city as well as Inari's power. With this power comes great responsibility and expectations, which he never really wanted, being forced to follow in Inari's footsteps, not letting him decide his own future. Throughout much of the anime, he often runs away from his responsibilities and continues acting like a child. That is until meeting child Koto, his little sister. Thanks to being exposed to her, he gradually starts taking on more and more responsibilities. Sometimes you watch as parents force lofty expectations onto their children as the parents plan out their children's entire life with no input from them. That's what Yakushimaru has to deal with here. The massive weight of expectations and having to follow in his parents' footsteps suffocated him as he avoided responsibilities. He didn't feel like his own individual person. While growing up, child Koto never knew her mother, so naturally, like anybody in her situation, she strived to find her, smashing anything that got in her way. Literally. She's jealous of her other siblings because she never had a childhood where she was able to enjoy memories made with them, so she steamrolls ahead, wanting to have a relationship with her family. Koto is also given a responsibility from her mother to save Inari, the same thing that the rabbit did for Inari years ago, bearing a similar weight of expectations that Yakushimaru had to deal with. Her hard-headedness and desire inspires others to change as she interacts with them. The greatest example of this is her own father, Inari, who finally realizes that he is not alone in this world. He has a loving family who is looking out for him and helps him find a purpose within his own life, no longer wanting his life to end. Both Yakushimaru and Koto are kids who struggle with being their own person, since the responsibilities and dreams of their parents are passed down to them. Myoe, or Yakushimaru, has the power to create, while Koto has the power to destroy. Both parents place their own dreams onto these kids, while also hoping they do not fail. Life within a family is often a cycle, with kids being very similar to their parents, and it is no different here. Kids do the same things and oftentimes make the same mistakes as their parents, their predecessors. Parents want their children to be better versions of themselves, and it is their job to help them out with this. Although Kyousougiga is a story involving gods, immortals, and drawings, and it's also extremely chaotic and wacky, the story is relatable, aka human in this aspect. This family within Kyousougiga is completely weird on the outside, but they feel real. As it progresses, you see the beauty of family. Family understands each other better than anybody. Family is there for you when times get rough, and they help each other out. It reminds me of my family, and luckily for me, I am blessed to have a fantastic one that I can lean on when times get rough. Kyousougiga is also a story of looking forward towards the future instead of being firmly rooted in the past. The past is what makes you you, but continue building upon it instead of yearning for the safety of the past that will never come back. It's what child Koto specifically helps her family to overcome. Kyousougiga's story ties everything together so well overall, even though I would say certain things could have been a bit better. Some of these being more nitpicky than others. The art and general wackiness of the show made it a pleasure to watch. For me, it is a great example of insanity done right for an anime, always maintaining your interest. Kyousougiga is indeed an underrated gem. I give it an 8 out of 10. Well done, Reddit. You're correct with this underrated gem and are now 11 and 9 overall, and 1 and 1 for the new underrated gems in this series. If there's a specific anime from the Reddit list that you'd like to see me review next, tell me in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.